we have now entered upon 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 6, and we have been plodding along here. We are just now making it to verse 6. We've really been only spending time on one verse per installment of Master the Page, and this is really no exception. The only exception was last time we looked at both verses 4 and 5, but here we're going to look at verse 6. In this, our author writes, Peter, in this. What is in this? Well, it's back in verse 4. Remember, in verse 4 and 5, we read, to obtain an inheritance which is imperishable and undefiled and will not fade away, or is unfading, reserved in heaven for you. And then verse 5 is who, that is, for whom this inheritance is reserved, who are protected by the power of God through faith for a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. And so it's this hope to which we look that is the object of verse 6. In this, that is the salvation ready to be revealed in the last time, the inheritance reserved for us, for you in heaven. In this you greatly rejoice. How often do we actually think about this living hope that we have in Christ through the resurrection, and then can genuinely describe ourselves as those who greatly rejoice? And the idea of rejoicing is to exult, to be glad, and it's emphatic. It's agaliao. It's to exult, it's to be glad, it's to be joyous. It's not just to be happy, it's not just to be in a good mood, it's to be emphatically glad. And it's because it's in this emphatic gladness is in that which is to be revealed in the last time, which is our salvation by faith, and our faith is in Christ, which is our living hope, like what we saw in verse 3. So there's a bunch of things wrapped up in this right here. In this, well, what is this? Well, we could make a small list of it down here. One is our living hope, which is Christ himself. And we have that hope through the resurrection. What's the next? The next might be the inheritance. It's the inheritance which is imperishable. It's imperishable. It's undefiled. It's pure. And it is unfading. And then what's third? The third would be the salvation, which is ready to be revealed in the last time. So all of that is in which we rejoice. We greatly rejoice. We emphatically are glad because of this. So in this you greatly rejoice, even though, Okay, he's about to introduce an element of life which we currently experience this side of glory, which the world might point to in order to contradict the Christian narrative. So someone who is without Christ, who is outside of Christ, they do not have a living hope, a living faith, may say, how do you have any of this great joy? You have various trials. Your mom died. You lost a child in the womb. You went through a divorce. You're sick with cancer. You're going to die soon. You have 2 weeks to live. How can you greatly rejoice? And Paul says that it's even though you may be distressed, even though you may encounter various trials, even though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been distressed by various trials. And that word for trial is perismos. It's test, trial, it's even temptation. The trials can range from anything from our own sin to the effects of sin that we experience in this life. And Paul says, you rejoice greatly in this, even though you have all of these trials. And the reason for that is because all of this will outlive all of these. And so the reason we can have great joy, the reason we can rejoice greatly, we can have emphatic gladness, is because of all of this. And the reason we can have emphatic gladness or great rejoicing, even amidst trials, is because all of this will outlast the trials. This is going to outlive all of this. Okay, no trial, no hardship, no way or method or situation which causes us to be distressed is going to last longer than any of this. And so as we move through the text, we need to really get a grasp around how significant the living hope is, that is Christ, and the inheritance we have in Him and in Him alone, which is imperishable. It's going to outlive the trials. It's undefiled. It's without trial. It's without distress, and it's unfading. So whereas trials will fade, the living hope, the inheritance, and our salvation, which is reserved for us or will be revealed in the last time, will never fade. So the trials are characterized by the opposite attributes as our inheritance. So our inheritance is imperishable, undefiled, unfading. Trials, on the other hand, are perishable, often defiled, and they are fading. They will go away. And may we rejoice because of that. Thank you for joining me here on this installment of Master the Page. I hope and I pray that you will join me next time and that this will be an edifying consideration for you out of 1 Peter 1:6.